right, welcome back, everybody, for another episode of Chasing Ghosts. This is the video series where I look at those hard to find, those impossible to find comics, those things you just don't see up on the wall at your LCS every week. These are things you got to do some research, track down, some hunting, get lucky in a lot of cases to get some of these harder to find comic books. Hopefully, you're still enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Check out the memberships and join up for some special members only content. And yeah, let me know what you think. This is episode 86 of this series with a couple of Star Wars specials mixed in. It's going to be a month or two and we're going to be hitting 100. I can't believe I've been doing it this long, but I still got plenty of other books on my to-do list to cover for this series. So hopefully you're still on board with checking them out. And as we dig in and dive in to see whether these are ghosts or just hard to find comic books that are expensive or cheap. Just because they're hard to find or impossible to find doesn't mean they're always expensive. A lot of times they are, but not all the time. But if you want to see what I got for you this week, just hang out for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back with this week's books. Okay, so we're going to pick up off of those Avengers AI books. I think it was last week I talked about them because I do got a couple more. And a couple of these I do really like. So let's get right into it. Not waste any time and go with Avengers AI number 8. This is a 1 in 50. Once again, I don't know why they went so deep into this run doing these high ratio incentives, but they did. I think they did, what, the first 5? I think we covered 4 or 5. Then they took a break, and they came right back at it with the next couple of issues. So issue 8, Christian Ward. I like the colors on this. It's really cool. You get this kind of tech vibes there going. 1 in 50, January 2014. Print run on this book is only about 20,000. So at a 1 in 50, we're looking at maybe 400 copies. Again, this is based off of the best information we got. Just got the Comic-Con estimated order numbers, and we got the incentive based off that ratio math of if there's 20,000 copies divided by 50, how many incentives there should be. That's not how it exactly works, but this is the best estimates and guesstimates that we can come up with based off of the information that's available. So that's what my guesses are. We'll see if that really shakes out and is true by checking what's available, what's out there, what's in the census, etc. Starting with the census, which only has 3 copies. So not a lot of subs for this book. 9.8, a 9.6, and an 8.5. I feel like I got this one in here somewhere because this is the kind of weird oddball variants that I use getting for cheap that I like buying. So once again, just because they're hard to find doesn't mean they're always expensive, as evidenced by our price here. We had one sold back in January at auction, only 2 bids, and it sold for only $5.50 for 1 in 50. That's the kind of stuff I buy. I don't think I bought that one because I would have remembered. January 23rd wasn't that long ago, but I feel like last year I might have gotten this from somewhere. But $5.50. Just because it's lower printed doesn't mean it's going to be super expensive. That said, what's on the market? Do we have any? We did have one, and it's out of the UK, and they're only looking for $15. Not a bad price for a 1 in 50, and if there's only 400 of them. Like I said, I kind of like it. I'm going to double check and see if I got it, but I like this. I like this cover personally. But this isn't even the highest ratio for this book because you might guess, yep, we do have a black and white sketch version because God knows we always need to do a double harder to find and higher ratio, and we got to just take the colors and inks out of it. So here we go. Black and white version is, as I was alluding to, a 1 in 100. Christian Ward, same month, January 2014. So with the print run still the same, that means our incentives are maybe only 200 then for this one. If this is a 1 in 100, that's definitely not a lot. And nobody bothered subbing one either. At least not yet. So none in the CGC census. And I found a single sale. And it was at auction. And it was only $9.03. Might even been the same seller as the 1 in 50. $9.03 for this 1 in 100. Granted, I sometimes buy the 1 in 100s if they're like this, but not all the time because, like I said, I prefer the color. The color version of this is far superior in my opinion. I'd rather have it. I get it. This one's twice as hard to find, less copies, etc. But I like the other version better, personally. But that said, one sold, and there are none out there. I went looking, I couldn't find one right now, at least on the market. So, yeah, good luck if you're going to go hunting for these. Now, the next one I know I did buy, and I bought because one, it's an oddball title, two, high ratio incentive, three, price was cheap, and four, I'm a fan of this artist. And this is number 9 of Avengers AI. Yeah, Robo Rocket Punch. It's kind of have that video game Street Fighter kind of vibe going, but this is a David Nakayama, so that's why I know I have it because I remember buying this one. But it is also a 1 in 50, February 2014. Print run still drops to about 16,000, almost 17,000. So the incentive here is only 338 copies. All right, I'm glad I bought one because it doesn't even seem like there's a lot of them out there. And there's none in the census for this one. So nobody subbed this book either. And I found one sale. Only one, but I found the one. And yeah, it was in February. One bid, $3.97. And I feel like I did something similar like last year, the year before. And that's how I got mine at auction at these low prices. Again, the print run, it's an estimate. There could be more. I don't know how many they actually printed or made of this book. So there could be extras out there, some pallet sales, overstock at Diamond. Who knows? Books show up sometimes in those 5 and below packs, things like that. Diamond sales, etc. Here are all these things of how these incentives get out, and they get them for cheap. So I don't know where the source is for that personally. I'm not a dealer. I don't know this stuff. I don't know all those ins and outs. I just know what I hear, and I know what I see. And when I see cheap prices like this, I will buy it if I like it because I like cheap books. That said, this particular one, Nakayama, one sold back in February for only $4, and there are none available right now. So interesting. Yeah, just interesting. And then the last one is another one I know that I had, but I no longer have it because I think I sold it on Whatnot or something stupid like that. Like I was doing a Whatnot sale and I had to have some books to sell, and I threw this one in there. Probably shouldn't have because I like it. This is number 10, and this is the last one we're going to cover for Avengers AI. I like this Doom cover, the Vitruvian Man. Is that what that one's called? The Da Vinci thing? I like it. I still like it. I don't know why I sold it, but it did. But this is also a 1 in 50. This one's by Kevin Tong, March 2014. I think I paid like $9 for it, and I probably sold it for like 20. So I didn't even like make a lot of money on it. But print runs down below 16,000, so the incentive is just above 300 copies potentially on this one. Once again, I probably shouldn't have sold it. Should have just kept it for myself because I had it for cheap. See if I can find it for cheap again, but who knows? Only one in the census, and it's a 9.6 that I could find, and I could only find a single sale as well, and it sold for $16 with a couple of bids back in February. So a little bit better, but still well under ratio. These are 1 in 50s that I'm going to remind you, and then no copies out there, so I can't replace it right now. But I'll keep an eye out for it because, like I said, I kind of like this one. But we'll see what happens. All right, we're going to pivot off of Avengers AI, and I got a one shot for you, mostly because this is the only one that they did ratio incentive for that's this high. This is Darkhawk, number 1. This is the new run of Darkhawk. This is the one that came out in December. Oh, no, I'm sorry, August of 2021. Mike Diodato Jr. did this particular cover. 1 in 50 ratio on this. Print run was a decent print run. From our best guesses, again, this is getting near. This is right in the midst and coming off of like COVID and lockdown. So print run numbers got a little wonky there and weird for a couple of years. But from what I can gather, 46,000 plus on this one. So that 1 in 50 will be under 1,000 copies at about 930. I don't know. Seems about right. But we'll see. Darkhawk number 1. In the census, we do got a few. We actually got 45. 45 of this. People sub this book. 3798, 796s, and it looks like a single 94. And that's it. That's all of them. With plenty of copies sold. So again, the return of Darkhawk had fans. They were buying it. Granted, they're buying it well under ratio, that 1 in 50 ratio, $13, $18. And then there's a 9.8 that sold for only $71. 71 for a 9.8 of a 1 in 50. Not too bad. Not too bad. And there's more. These are just a handful of examples, as well as here's a handful of examples of copies that are available right now. So more than the 4 I have here, but just to give you a sense, there's one at auction that's only at 99 cents. Granted, that goes until Friday, so who knows where it'll shake out to. Then there's copies asking $80 and $95. So while there's those cheap sales at auction, the asks seem to be a bit higher. Look, I mean, even that 9.8's asking $300. So while those auctions sold for much less, the asks are a bit higher. So we'll see what happens with this other auction. But if people keep throwing these up for auction, those holding asking for those higher prices are probably going to be holding and waiting for a lot longer because yeah, you see where the market spot we're actually paying, and those asks are nowhere near one another. So we'll see when they eventually meet. That said, staying in the cosmic realm of the Marvel Universe, we're going to stay out there for a little bit more, and we're going to shift on over to one of my favorites, Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer Black is actually what we're going to look at here today. This is issue 4. I just started with issue 4. There are multiple incentives on the earlier issues 1, 2, and 3, but their print run was so high and there's so many copies, I just bypassed it. There are plenty out there. They're plenty out there. So I figured let's start at number 4 and then we'll work our way to the end. So with number 4, this is the Peach Momoko cover, by the way. Oh, here we go. Peach Momoko, 1 in 25, September 2019. There's still a decent number of copies of this thing out there. If we do the math and figure it out, with a print run of about 50,000, that would give us almost 2,000 potential copies of a 1 in 25. So there should be a lot of copies out there. There are a decent number in the census, 270 submitted to the CGC census with 138 9.8s, 103 9.6s, and a bunch of others. 270 in the census for that 1 in 25. But even with all those copies and all those submitted in the census, I could only find one sale in the last 3 months. And it was that $100 sale. I hate the listings like this where they list all the different versions of the cover. I guess it's a cheap way to list multiple books, but it's a pain in the ass to do the research on it. But it was, I think, the $100 sale for this on March 4th. And that was the only one. But there are copies available of this out there. Granted, not a ton more, but a few more than what we have here. And you can see this is much pricier than I would have expected. $90 to $225 raw. $140 for a 9.6, $280 for a 9.8. Considering there's potentially 2,000 copies out there, 270 in the census alone, these are some steep prices. But Peach, she had her moment in the sun where her books were really, really expensive there for a while. Is this lag? Is this hanging on to those prices from those days back in 2019? Maybe. I don't know. But for now, there are copies available. They just happen to be expensive. So there you go. Moving on. Number 5. Here we go with number 5, and we're going to go up to some high ratio incentives. Because again, this print run on the regular book was a decent amount. I mean, 50,000 is not a small number these days. But number 5, Silver Surfer Black. Pretty cool cover. You got the board. You got the reflection with null. This is a 1 in 200. 1 in 200. I'm not even going to try to say the name because I know there's a weird way to pronounce it that it's just not phonetic and I'm going to sound stupid. So I'm not even going to try. But you can see the artist name right there. October 2019, 1 in 200. Estimated print run goes up from the last issue to about 52,000 plus. So our incentive here, being a 1 in 200, would be potentially maybe 263 copies. Again, I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what the incentive math would give us. That said, census tells us that this Torbay variant, 141. So if there's 200 so copies, 141 of them are already graded too, with 107 9.8s, 24 9.6s, and a couple others. But that would mean that almost all of them are graded. I guess, I mean, at a 1 in 200, I wouldn't be too surprised by that. I mean, a lot of places, including shops, would probably just go and sub that book because it is such a high ratio. But I don't know. It leads me to questions. But for what sold? A raw. So despite all those graded, a raw did sell best offer on $165, which I didn't bother looking up what the price is, but it's still going to be under the 1 in 200 ratio. So it's under $200. So it's under ratio, even what's sold. And that was way back in December, by the way. And if you wanted to go shopping for this book, there are plenty of copies to be had for this 1 in 200. Granted, I know there were also not incentive exclusives for this book. There were a couple of store exclusives, so they would also be handed a few of these variants as well. I mean, you think the minimum print run on a Marvel exclusive, I believe, is 3,000, and then if you do a Virgin version, that would be another 1,000. But yeah, see, 3,000, you do 200 copies. One for every 200 copies, so you get 5 per 1,000. So even those places are getting 15 of them. So if you did a store exclusive, you're getting at least 15 of this variant. I guess that's why we're seeing so many, but there are more than enough out there. $140 to $165 raw, still under ratio, and a $300 9.8. So above ratio on the 9.8, but that also has to come with grading fees, etc. So yeah, there are copies though. But can you believe at a 1 or 200, that wasn't even the highest? That was not even the highest for this book. There was a 1 in 500 version. It has, this is, I guess, the spoiler cover because you got Galactus on there. Again, go check out the story. It was interesting. Not my favorite Surfer story, but it was interesting. But this 1 in 500 is going to be even less if we do the math. That's going to be about 100 copies. I just can't imagine that's right. But that's what the math would shake out to be. Because again, even those shops that did those exclusives would at least get 6 of these. And I don't know if that counts into the estimated print run because it's a different separate order form. But that all said, if there's only 100 copies of it, 62 of them are graded. Also a little suspect. 33 9/8, 19 9/6s, and then a few others. But that's what's there. Just pointing out what's in the census for this. Estimates aside, that's what's in the census. Estimates aside, we've had a few sales of this thing. More than the 3 I'm showing you. 28 bids took one to $238. Again, well under a 500 ratio. 9.4 asking $350, and a 9.8 not asking got $350, and a 9.8 got $400. So even a 9.8 got under ratio. Granted, ratio is so high at 1 in 500, it's kind of hard to meet that ratio price once we start talking about those levels. Even on any normal book. Not that normal books really have those high ratios, but there was that time when Marvel was doing the 1 in 500s, doing the 1 in 1000s, and there were not a lot of those hitting those marks. Some were well below that. That said, we still have copies available too. With all those sales, there's more than the 3 I'm showing you. I'm just showing you 3, give you a ballpark. Somebody wants the ratio price of $500 for a raw, $375 for a 9.6. Somebody's asking $750 for a 9.8, just as examples. So you're not getting a deal right now on this book. So keep that in mind as well if you decide to go shopping for one of these. Maybe look into one. Keep an eye out. Maybe you can get one for cheaper. But right now, no discounts. That said, our last, well, I guess I'm going to have to say series of books because these things came together. I'll explain in a second. But we're going to be talking about these Art Germ, Nightmare Symphony exclusives. Just, I think from the Art Germ store. Very, very limited. Again, these were sold in sets. Yeah, first ever Art Germ Lady Death Ultimate Nightmare set. They only printed 77 copies of each of these books. Let's start here. 3 covers, 77 copies. Let's do them one by one. Archer, the Legend Edition. That's what we're showing here. November 2018. Estimated print run. Well, we don't have to estimate it. It's clear. It says it's 77. Of those 77, how many are in the census? 29. We got 2 9.9s, 26 9.8s, and we got a 9.6. So 29 of the 77 are graded. Granted, maybe some got double graded, but probably not. So there we go. Got a third of them in the census already. These don't come up often, but one did sell. Actually, a set sold. I think this was a set of graded copies that were like 9.8s and 9.4s, but the 3 books together sold. Best offer on $2,000. $2,000. They didn't cost $2,000. I don't remember what the price was when they came out. I know they weren't cheap, but it wasn't $2,000. Granted, it's very, very limited. I like these. These are pretty awesome. I'm an Archer fan too, but these are out of my wheelhouse. Plus, I'm gonna have a tough time finding them because right now there is a set of signature series graded copies up right now. Looks like a 9.8, a 9.4, and a 9.8 for the 3 covers we just talked about. That's looking for $4,000. I don't got $4,000 to spend on these books. I mean, I'm not paying $4,000 for these books. That's just not me. That's not how I roll. But if somebody wants to, that's the price. Keep that in mind, that set's out there, because again, these were sold together as a set. They didn't always remain as a set, so we could see some of these broken up and sold individually. But for right now, this Legend Edition, I only saw a set sold and a set available. The next one we're going to look at is the this version, this black and white kind of version. This is the Noir Edition. Also, again, same art, same book, just recolored. 77 copies, just like the last one. But CGC Census is different. There are 31 copies of this one in there. 29 9/8, a 9.6, and a 9.4. No 9.9s on this one, but there were 9.9s on the Legend Edition. As far as sales go, we got that one I pointed out, that set that sold for best offer on $2,000. Copies available. Well, it's just that $4,000 one again. It's the same set. So that's the only way to get this book is in that set too. That's 2. Let's get to number 3. And I believe this is the holofoil version. So this is the Virgin Foil Edition. You can already see it's a little bit shinier. I granted, the picture quality is not great, but there's not a lot of pictures of these books out there, let alone copies of these books out there. So even online, there's not a lot of pictures. So with that, still, November 2018, these 3 came together. Sets, only 77 sets. I've said it like a bunch of times already, but so you get it. 77 copies of each. Only 27 graded for this particular cover, with 6 9.9s, 29 8s, and a 9.4. All right. Well, I mean, it does have that holofoil. So holofoil generally will give you that thicker cardstock cover, and as long as it's treated well, it shouldn't get dinged up like a regular book. Shouldn't be manhandled. And if you're paying a premium for a limited to 77 set, even the seller is going to take care of them when they're going from the outset. It's not thousands of copies that they're just pulling out of boxes and then shoving in bags and boards. 77, they're taking extra special care when you can get this kind of money for them. Once again, $2,000 on the set, and as you saw, same set available for the 3 of them. Now, we're just about done, but outside of the 77, there was one more. Special edition. Metal version. You can even see it on the front there. They're numbered and limited to 13 copies. Here, Coffin Comics, Golden Ticket. All right, so it wasn't our term. It's Coffin Comics. Golden Ticket. So 10 golden tickets will be randomly added across all the tiers for this book. And, lucky winners will get 1 copy of this rarest art germ book. Only 13 copies. What did I say, 10? Only 13 copies of this. 13 metal copies. Pretty cool. So there we go. Metal edition. Archer. Still November 2018. Print and run. We know it. It's the 13. CGC Census has 7 of them. So a little more than half with a 9.9 and 6 9/8. I mean, it's a metal cover after all. So it shouldn't be damaged all that much. But hey, 1.99 and 6 9/8. No copies of this was sold. Well, I mean, there's only 13 of them, so we shouldn't be surprised that none sold. But I was surprised to see there's one out there. There's one out there. CGC wants $4,300. So I think it's a 9.8, but $4,300. Granted, it's one of 13, but that is that's pretty steep for me. No, I can't do it. Much as I'd like it, can't do it. But there you go. So with that, you guys know what we've been doing as far as our rules go with the ghost tags. It's got to have at least one or none on the market. If it has one or none, we'll throw the ghost tag on it. If it's got more than 1 copy, though, we're just going to call it hard to find. And for this week, we had only a few hard to find books. And some of them were the higher ratios. We had the 1 in 50 Darkhawk, we had the 1 in 25 Silver Surfer Black, and then the 1 in 200 and the 1 in 500 Silver Surfers. So the 3 Silver Surfers in the Darkhawk book all are only hard to find because there were multiple copies of them out there. But all of those Avengers AI books that I showed you, and then all of the Lady Death Nightmare Symphonies that I showed you as well, those all had either one or none on the market. So those 8 for this week will throw the ghost tag on them. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Let me know if you have any of these books. If you do, tag me on Instagram. Let me see it. Show it off, because some of these are really tough to find, especially those Nightmare Symphonies. I want to see those art germs. If you got them, definitely tag me, because I think the only person I knew that had them was Ben Stein, because I know he's also an art germ fan, and I think I remember him sharing when he got his. But I don't have them. Maybe one day, but not today. And with that, thanks again for stopping by, checking this out. I appreciate all the support. Appreciate you checking out the content here. Got plenty more coming your way with the normal regular lineup, and live tax show on Wednesday. Dollar Bendigo will be Thursday. Live Mail Call Madness on Friday. And I think Dom's actually going to be out, so I might be stepping in to help Jedi out this week on Mail Call Madness. And we'll see if anybody else wants to hop on with us. But keep an eye on that. Mark your calendar for Friday night at 9, and celebrate St. Patty's Day with me and Jedi. So, and then SNS on Saturday, Tales from the Dark Side on Sunday, and then the week will start over. And yeah, plenty more content coming your way. So again, thank you all. Thanks for checking this out, and I will see you guys soon. All right, later.